HTJ.tax, the international tax firm for 6, 7, and 8-figure investors and entrepreneurs who are living that international life. Are you ready?
If you work for a U.S. employer while living in Portugal, who withholds federal or W-2, do you still have to pay taxes in Portugal? If so, what rate do you currently pay, and is there an offset between the two countries? So I'll answer part of that and hand over to Augusto. So definitely, there is an offset. So the countries, both jurisdictions, well, the U.S. does recognize foreign tax credits. It's a bit nuanced. So whatever is taxed in Portugal, all things being equal, you should be able to offset that against a U.S. liability. So that's something to bear in mind. But again, the advisory team that's doing both, they need to speak to each other and they need to coordinate. But Augusto, remote worker in Portugal working as an employee, so it's a W-2, which means this person is an employee for a U.S. company. What are the implications of that?
Okay. If the work is developed mainly in Portugal and the work is not developed in a permanent establishment or fixed place in the US, it means that such income can only be can also at least be taxed in Portugal. So I would say that in general cases, it would be an easier solution to try to claim tax credits in the US. Yes, in general terms.
Absolutely.
There are some situations where, under the double tax treaty, this can be specifically dealt with, but in general terms, I would say.
Yeah. And I want to go back to a point that you made when you first began answering that question, the idea of a permanent establishment. So again, just to kind of develop that, it depends on the person that's asking, because it pops up for us as anonymous attendee. So anonymous attendee, if it is that you are senior in your company and you have the ability to conclude contracts, you have strategic decision-making authority, then you'd probably want to talk to Augusto or someone pretty quickly, because as Augusto mentioned, you may have triggered inadvertently or whatever permanent establishment. What does that mean? It means that US company that is your employer, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about your employer, may suddenly have a taxable presence in Portugal. Yeah. And therefore be subject to Portugal income tax at the corporate level.
Yeah, the management and control rules that you mentioned in the beginning. That's correct.
Exactly. So, if I were you, I'd try to reach out to whoever, we're not, trying to push, but, you speak to Augusto or someone suitably qualified as soon as possible, just to make sure that, you and your company aren't adversely affected. Right. Hope that helps move.
So if you're a 6, 7, or 8-figure investor, entrepreneur, or business owner who needs a tailor-made solution from a qualified team of professionals, we can help you achieve the international lifestyle, the freedom, and even the tax savings you're looking for. Visit us at htj.tax and live that international life.